Good evening to all of you. I, Ajay Jha, on behalf of ACS India team, welcome you to ACS Science Talks 2021. Today, we are pleased to have Professor Nayan Pradhan with us. Professor Nayan Pradhan is currently Professor at Department of Material Science, Indian Association for the Cultivation of Science, Kolkata. He obtained his PhD from IIT Kharagpur. Thereafter, he did postdoctoral work at the Ben Gurion University, Israel, and University of Arkansas, USA. Professor Prasad's research interest is on semiconductor and domed semiconductor nanocrystals for diverse applications. He has a long list of awards and accolades to his credit, to mention a few: DST Swart Jayanti Fellowship by the Government of India, DST Nano Mission Young Career Award, Chemical Research Society of India Bronze Medal, and many more. He is currently the editorial advisory board member of Chemistry of Materials and ACS Energy Letters. Before we start, we request the audiences to post their questions into the chat box and kindly avoid putting questions into the chat box. In case of any internet issues, please stay with us. Now, I would like to invite Professor Pradhan to deliver his talk. Professor Pradhan, over to you.
Good evening. Thanks, Ajay, for your kind introduction. So in the ACS Science Talk series, I'm going to talk on semiconducting nanocrystals from reaction flux to electron microscope. This is basically a flux chemistry of designing different nanocrystals, semiconducting nanocrystals, which have both light emission as well as the absorption. And I will focus mostly on the most emerged materials on this series. Nanocrystals engineering, how to design the nanocrystals, bringing atoms together, that I'm going to focus on today's presentation. So let's take us back to the school or college chemistry lab. In the first day, at least I feel myself, once I enter to the lab, to do something like this, to mix up the chemicals, to see something unexpected or something expected. That's the new color or smoke or participate or precipitate or something exciting. Just mix chemicals randomly, assuming to have fun getting. That's called like chemistry, starts from there. That's what it is more related on the nanochemistry, where little has been known and more remain in the dark. To understand this nanochemistry, you have to have a parallel electron microscope side of your reaction class. Otherwise, each step what you are going to do, you cannot see those. You have to monitor those for the electron microscope. So, and regarding the materials proposed today, I'm going to talk on how the atoms are connected to the nanocrystals to form the nanocrystals. The dimensions are mostly 1 to 15 nanometer, because in scientific term, these show the quantum confinement regime, but the size changes, the optical properties changes, and these are exclusively done on the bottom of approach. So you use your materials either in the LEDs or in the photovoltaic or in the magnetic properties, whatever you start, if you deal with the nanomaterials, it has to come to the reaction flux, and you have to follow the nanochemistry, how these are designed. Here is a small example of an atomic model where AB type of materials it has been given. As I saw, this is the two types of atoms periodically arranged, few hundred of atoms are together. And if you want to make it in the reaction flux, the first and foremost to understand the physical chemistry, how A plus B gives out the AB, which is the your crystal. And it has to be thermodynamically feasible, then this should be negative. You have to study the kinetics, how A and B, what should be the concentration leading to AB. That's the formation of my conjugate. And these tiny nanocrystals are energetically, they always, they try to form together, and the bigger, they are not stable. So it has to have an organic onto the surfaces. So you have to design the ligands. So you have to know about the organic chemistry. And the third most is here is the solid state chemistry. You have to know for crystal designing, how to understand the crystal. It has to be knowledge on the solid state chemistry. And for the last but then least, it's also an inorganic material. So basically a combination of basic knowledge for all these things, the fundamentals are required for understanding these nanocrystals. So now here I put it out. What we do here, you have to have a reaction flux as I was talking and the electron microscope on the side, because for one reaction, tens of sample has to be taken out to see it out how these are going it out. That's what the talk I put from reaction flux to that of the electron microscope. So semiconductor nanocrystal, when I put on Google search, these are the prominent images that came out. In the first one, you see this is a nanocrystal, where there is an organic cell on it. This is called it like a template type that keep it stable inside. And second one, it comes is the size changes, the band gap has been changes. And the third one, the picture from the MIT, which talks about the different fluorescent colors from the quantum dots, the small scale nanocrystals, basically cadmium selenide it is. So these are what the colors of these tiny nanocrystals that comes from, and we saw these are the flux chemistry. And two types of materials are on this category. One is in 1993, 3 decades has been passed for the card selenide quantum dots, and recently what the Maxim Kovalenko, who has been coming out with a new strategy, new materials. This is cesium-lead halides or polyester perovskite. This has been in the last 5 years. This is now formed as one of the most demanding materials, energy materials, both for light emitting and photovoltaics. What is this material? Like ABX, 3 type of materials. A cesium-lead bromide it is. It's a stable one and green emitting, and one of the demanding materials. These are the atoms arrangement, what you see here. These are the atom arrangements, but in scientifically it is put it out in the lead of radar, how they are surrounded. And the blue balls, what you see it out, these are the largest atom in the periodic table, cesium remain here, which are not bonded covalently. So now this is in simple way to understand, this is a semiconductor which absorbs the solar light or light within the visible region, and also the emit, which is in case of particular, this material is green, changing the highlights, you can tune the colors also from blue to that of the red. So now the question has come to the point how these are made. If you go for the synthesis to making these ABX type of materials, you have to have 3 types of precursors together. So 3 types of precursor, one short example I'm giving here. These 3 precursors like cesium, lead, and that of the bromine, we mixed up together and at room temperature and injected at different temperature. Once we injected different temperature in the reaction flux, it starts from 2.4 nanometer, it continues to 25 nanometer. It's with platelets with the size, thickness tunable, and you could see here the cubes which size are also tunable. So that's what in one reaction, changing different temperature, you can tune the size as well as shape of these nanostructures. So now what happens with the chlorides and bromides and iodides, though mostly I'm talking about bromide today, and 3 colors are well documented. These are all reported that these quantum efficiency can reach to near unity, around 80-90% quantum efficiency, and different colors. And once you want to get intermediate of blue and green, they can have a mixed highlights, so that the continuously color can be tunable in entire visible region. So now what happens, what's the unique here, other than the colors? If you look on the microscope, you see them, these are all cubes. So irrespective of their colors or composition, they are exclusively formed on the cubes or platelet, as I was showing before. So to understand that, I put also the word, the perovskite nanocrystals and the TM in the Google. You could see it out. Most of the cases are on the cubes. Basically, it's a fundamentally challenging problem. Why these are cubes? Why several other facets can be created? If facets are important for catalysis, facets are important for assembly, and facets are important for designing different patterns or growth, secondary growth, or getting in heterostructures of these materials. So there are 3 pictures which has been shown more on the reviews. You could see it out of these materials. So the first one I was talking about, this is from Kovalenko's lab, and the middle one is also showing it out, the shape changes, but mostly platelet and the cube. They are changing the size of the platelet and the cube. And the third one is also showing, which is widely used as an image in the reviews, are also confined to the platelets and cubes. So the cutting edge research challenges in this field at this time, this is called the most demanding and the newly emerging materials as I was talking, that why these are six facets. So we would like to use the school chemistry, basic chemistry to understand that why these are and how to get the new nanocrystals on this. So this is what currently available in the current issue of SS Energy Later. This is what we have discussed there. One can have a look on this. That's where the fun pictures I put it out. We These are lovely. These are looks good. We put it out for our kids. We buy, and these are also for demonstrated in the schools as the unique of these polyhedral structures. These are wooden structures. You could see this one is the cube what I was talking about. But every facets are equal. Only six facets. If you want to only nanocrystal, not nanocrystal for anything, these are a wooden strip which is have a four facets, you get a tetrahedron, and there is an eight facets, you have an octahedron, and so on. So one unique of these five I show here that they all are similar, one type of facets, but it can have also a mixture of both this triangle and that of the cube, like this structure. One can have a complicated structure, have a mixture of two types of facets over there. So now what happens, how to make this polyhedra? So when we try to understand this, if we go for cutting down this in the physics way, or it's called top-down methods, one can do it out cutting a piece of wood to a rectangular or a cube, one can cut down and get these polyhedras. But how to make in solution, in the bottom of approach you have to do. You have to start with the atoms and mixing with the atoms and a particular facet to be stabilized. So while carrying out this particular reaction, what I was showing, after 200 degrees, we continue to inject. Very surprisingly, we found it out. These are no more cube. There are some new facets comes out of particular materials. So basically, how these new facets are coming out, if we look at it out, then I go back to here, this model. It's showing out that cube where or the corners are has been cut, and that of the sides has been cut, edges are cut. If at all we cut down from a cube, and we can get this type of structures. So that's what one method. The other way method is the selective binding of selective ligands, which we have on the surfaces. That behaves like a template type. It can also give a facet selective polyhedra. Now here are several examples are polyhedron atomic models that we plan to design for cesium-lead bromide nanocrystals. The first three, again, I'm showing here, they are single type of facets, 4, 6, and 12, but the last three are mixture of the facets. And below, these are all showing this one particular facet, how they look like. So if we consider these two in the atomic models, I put it out these three types of atoms here. This arranged in the particular facets for responsible for this tree structure. Or very simply, I can remove these. I can show these are simply the atoms arrangement or the area of the atoms in this particular manner. And the difference between the two lines, we call it basically the D spacing or spacing between the planar distances of the crystals. So now the second plan is there. A first plan was to cutting down a one existing crystal. The second plan to design A, B, C type of ligands or organic molecules that will be very specific to very specific facets, these facets. This is the two way we can design those structures. Let's have, this is called a template format. Simple is like this. We make a brick here. That is a format. This is a solid, but in organic ligands, if you put it out, this is a soft. It can expand with the temperature, or it can have an like the more dynamic. Or if you have an hexagonal template, you can have the brick like this. So that's what, if we design or format our ligands, we can have this type of structures. Let us cross check if it is at all possible or how to get it. This is very the school chemistry I would like to follow here. And this particular is the X-ray diffractogram images. This has been taken for the materials which has a particular atomic arrangements to know. And this one, the materials we have chosen is an orthorhombic phase. And these are the values as I was talking, different spacing between the plane. These are the D spacing and H scale value. These are the scientific term, the H scale values denoted a particular plane where A axis and B axis and C axis values are cut down. So now what happens? Let's go it out. Once we look at it out here, then we found it out two such d spacing are similar. They are not same, they are similar, 0.58. Let's focus on that. So if I bring it out, only the cesium atom, which is the largest atom on the periodic table, I was talking that in the cesium lead bromide system, only cesium I put it out. Then these are the planes 0.58. Connecting these are the lines are 0.58. So if this is the cases, then what happens? 002 and 110, being it is an orthorhombic where A, B, C. Among that, C is different and A is nearly equal to B. So how many total number of planes possible? If we look at it out, then 2 plus 4. That's what 6. That is what if all the facet has to be stabilized, they are nearly equal energy, one has to get the cube structure, and we get in the maximum cube structure. If you cut down the cube, then you get a flat structure. Then another set of planes here, 0.41, you can look at it out, 0.41. So these both are nearly same again. Look at it out, what are those? These are the way these planes are labeled. This distance between these two planes are 0.41. So if at all I assume that 0.41 is the crystal, this is 112 and 200 here. Total number of 112 might be, because 2 is different than that of 11. And that's what, because C is different than AB. That's what the series of all permutations are 8. And this is all possible because C is always 0. And AB I switched off 4. Total is going to be 12. So I should get a crystal having 12 facets. These are all same, just oriented in different views. All have a 12 facet. This is called, term is the rhombic dodecahedron, or it can have also a standard or normal dodecahedron structure. Now what happens, this another plane, this is what I'm talking about one, but it can be designed for cubic phase within the other materials, including the chalcogenides. That's what we try to understand, that which facets need stabilized to change the crystal structure of the shape of these materials. So if we go for the 0.67, only 0.67, there is nothing is close to here. So we found it out there. That one is how much it will be 8. So if at all we get this particular plane, so we should get the structures like a tetrahedron, or tetrahedron is facets has been put here in octahedron, we're taking either 4 or 8. So this way, a new structures can be created if at all we find this one is stable. Simple is the model, is a simple paper model. This is for a simplicity, I put it out. And so we assume that if at all we put it in the surface ligands, A, B, C, different surface, which will form a sub-template on the ligands binding on the surfaces, because these are specific to this binding. This is also specific to this facet bind. If we design, we can get this type of beautiful nanocrystals in the reaction class. Now, what happens if we mix up these two? If we mix up these two also 14, so we can get it out, this structure has mixtures of two. Again, if we have other ways around, if at all we mix these two, which are coming to be 18, 12 plus 6, 18, then we are expecting this type of structures coming out. Other ways around, if we max it, all these are 8, 6, and 12, then we have a 26. So we have this type of, this is called from 26 faceted polyhedrons. So that's the way the structures of the nanocrystals one can design in the reaction class. Let's go to the existing hundreds of publications, maybe thousands of publications in the last 5 years, and that's deal with the cubes, which has been analyzed here. It can found it that the culprit is here is the ammonium ion. So this ammonium ions is exclusively stabilizing this type of facets, putting it out one of the position of the blue balls or the cesium remains. So that's what they are getting out cube. So that's what we plan having out something else to get it out 12 faceted, something else rather than A, we put a B ligands. We have to design something which will not stabilize this type of facets in the 6 faceted cubes, rather than it will stabilize these 12 faceted crystals. So we have to go for designing of the B. And that's what we are searching the literature. We found an alpha haloketone, a well-known organic molecules for polycyclic designing. So this type of materials we have used, and it undergoes in presence of amine as substitution reaction, SN2, giving a bulkhead, ligands having bulkhead which is larger size than that of the A. That was our aim. However, we obtained this one. Actually, it was an accidental, but whatever we have received the final ligands here that serve the purpose. So now what happens? We label as a B ligands. It might have something else also, but we found that this is not like that way. It is expecting to stable to the other facets. So that's what we did. Everything same. What is the modified methods of profiling the group or his own method? We use the same method, but we replace this. We use this molecule, and then what happened? You see the cube structure, which was widely has been studied. It has been changed to a new nanostructure having 12 facets. So now again, you see here 180 degree, 200 degree, 220, whatever. Maybe you change the temperature, their size is going changes, but shape remains all the 12 facets are here. Again, here I will show it out a little bit more larger view, the HADAP images as well as the TM images. They are showing this type of nanostructures. Actually, three types of orientations are there we found in the electron beam, and these are reflected by atomic models here. They are just viewing in the different. These are nothing but which direction we see it has been labeled. And there are some technical scientific terms here. These are the patterns obtained from the atomic arrangements that confirm that these are what the cube has the phase which is optically active, those type of materials. So now what happens? This so beautiful self-assembly. This self-assembly are nothing but picking of these nanocrystals. If they have the same size, during drying they put layer by layer and they form this type of assembly. And you can see that every set of experiment, these micron areas of self-assembly. You could see the larger view how these atoms are packed. And also you could see it out to the HRTM images, high resolution. These are the dodecahedrons are packing of these nanostructures. So ideally, this is the shape which is then a particular elongated hexagon type of view, but these are packed, but we saw them on the TM images. But optical properties, these are also near unity quantum efficiency is well established in the community here. There is no compromise. It can be explored like that of the cube for all the purposes. Now what happens? This is the wooden piece. What we had shown here, we could generate these 12 faceted nanocrystals like this. So now we would like to change to a different facet. One of the way what this simple etching process or cutting process is just cut down these edges. So if we cut down these edges, then the triangle facets come. Here is a square type of facet, and finally we get this structure. So if this structure has been all the vertex or the corners has been cut down, then we have to turn out this facet. And this is what is called the selective etching. And selective etching in this process are typically done for removal of the ligands or adding a different chemicals on it. In this particular cases, what we have found here, just heating up. Once we heating up on the surface, organics are labile, they try to come up. So then what you see it out, these structures. Because this hexagon, what you saw it out, that's actually dodecahedron. When they heated up, you see the beautiful structures and the contrast difference in the edges. They show they have the different faces. Let me show you a few more on this polyhedron structures. These are 26 facet polyhedron, and few more are here. If they are all, you can see the contrast difference. They indicate they are the new facets rather than that of the center. The same way, if at all the size of the hexagon, what you see the dodecahedron are changing with temperatures. If they are annealed, they can give a different size of this polyhedron nanocrystals. Now it is a wide view. They show they are monodispersed. Again, this is another one. You could see they are monodispersed. And then another way to get this type of nanostructures is that of understanding from cube. What will happen that we have to cut down the corners of the cube. So once we starting the cube, and we have we try to cut down these cubes, both corners as well as the vertex, sides at the vertex, as you could see on the right side, then the new facets are evolved. So this is called truncated cubes, and slowly they turn a very nice polyhedron, and the last one is here, 26 facets. So now basically what I conclude at this point, I have to design A and B. So A is giving me a cube having 6 facets and B is giving a 12 faceted crystals. There are two, and above this, what I saw it out, the grids, they are the planes, they are stabilizing those planes. These two, we have done it. So now what happens, if at all we switch the ligands on it, we switch from A to B. For example, we put in excess of A to B or some the new polyhedral nanocrystals. This is more amazing structures, we'll see it out. But like in switching between the two format here. Let this take these structures, either way it is formed from cube or from the dodecahedron. We took this one, okay, and we treated axis of A. A is the primary ammonium and bromide in the chemistry terms. And here, what happens here, once we treat it, and you could see it out, this A, as I was talking about, this A is only capping or stabilizing this particular facet. Then when we put it this A on this, then we found it out, apart from the center, all those new facets created are dissolved out. So these structures turn out to be a hexapod structure, arm structure. But this is nothing but a cubes, combination of several cubes, you could see it out. Therefore, basically the facets which remain outside of each cases are nothing but the same facet that of the cube. Now, on the bottom, you could see it out here, the octahedral model that is replicated for this perovskite materials. You could see here's the images, are so beautiful these are. All these are the 6 arm structures coming up from the same polyhedral when treated with the primary ligands A. Here again, you see here the dispersity as well as the arm which are small because these has been prepared from smaller size polyhedral structures. So again, one more close view of the SRTM images, how these are packed, and all are the arm structures. You can see here the self-assembly, even in the small range they give, but they are shown like an Iceland type of assembly. This conforms, even they have the arms, but they return packed because of the monodispersity. So now what happens to understand this, we go for the high temperature. High temperature means the ligands or the organisms in the surface that get more energy that can come on and off very, very quickly. So once we go that, this is more interesting. You see here like in a magic type of structures, we got it out. We found it out. They are stepwise. They are not all eliminated, but stepwise eliminated, like in temple type of, it's called step arms we found. Both are same but different orientation. Here is the 2D octahedral models, why they are forming out. This is the structure. Now you see the beautiful TM images. Here you see that each image in these cases are the temple type of arms are putting it out. So this has been opted for the high temperature synthesis. Now, what happens to this one? We put in these are exclusively done by B, and we were to add excess of A on it. So that's what we try to put A on it, and you see the beautiful images coming out after putting A. All the edges in these cases, you could see it out. They are turning out to be zigzag. So this zigzag means you could understand that there is some facet reconstructions are going on. So this is the simple theory. I put it out. This is the 12 faceted dodecahedron, which are surface has the B type of atoms like this plane. But when we bring it out the A plane, so A planes are here. They have to stabilize this type of planes which is not at all available for this type of nanocrystals. So what it does, once we force a lot of A on it, try to dissolve this. So that's what it's creating a step type of or zigzag type on the surface. They dissolve this and they are stabilizing on these cases. So that's what we found it out. We put it out the crystals here. All that is zigzag, they are coming out in the both sides. And when we 3D models we put, we found. And these are the two different view. You could see that AB. So that means this one is along the C direction view. And this is AC, this is the B direction view. They look like this. So beautiful crystals, just as a matter of using what kind of organics on it in the treating in the reaction class. So we conclude this way: 6-faceted, 12-faceted, what we have found it out, and they can give a different type of nanostructures. What are the importance of these multifaceted nanocrystals? But certainly we found that there are, for catalysis, these are better than that of the cubes because it has a new facets. And one more important feature, we see that once we keep those structures and aging, means kept some time in the organic vapor, we found that these particular set of nanostructures are connected. They are connected one to others through the kernels, even for hundreds of nanometer. You could see that it can go for even 1 micron range, beyond micron range. Wherever the self-assembly is available, that has been connected. This indicates that the connection happens on the field, means this is a step forward making the devices, these are step forward making the devices without making in the defect in the intermediate. You could see it out the HRTM images, but there is no defect when they are connected. They are simply a single crystal lines connected and still remain the space in between the two lines. Again, if you see the atomic models, it is clear that the connection is as per the new facets or the directions it has been formed. So other chemical approach for connecting nanocrystals so are there. For example, here I'm talking about this is the halide exchange. So you could see here is the atoms are arranged, and the largest intentionally I put the bigger size is the cesium, which has been the blue, and these are the lead, and these are the bromine. So if at all we want to do the ion exchange, then the bigger size should be same positions, or in the relative positions should be same, and the smaller sizes can be on and off. This is similar, like this is what again we changed it out to bromine to that of iodine, or it can be done with the chloride also. So this behaves like in simple. There is a roof here. This is that toy. For the smaller size window, you can replace, but the tall or larger size, the pillars you cannot replace. Once you replace the pillar, then the building will be collapsed. That's what the phenomenon. And here is the Liberator Mana group. They have all shown that whatever might be cesium halides and that of the compositions of lead halides with cesium lead halides, but the lattice that is created with the cesium remains almost same in everywhere. So that's what we go here. Whatever may be the materials is highlighted here. This is the inner lattice of the cesium that remain on. So we kept that as the tool, or taking that as an idea when we try to make this as secondary materials to connect of these nanostructures. So then what happens here, we put it out as cesium lead bromide. You see, this is only the cesium, but here is the cesium lead bromide. I picked up only the cesium template here. Then I put cesium bromide over here. So when you put cesium bromide first, then cesium bromide connected to these structures through the lattice matching this way. So then when we put lead on it, that's expanded this way, pulling a different cube orientation. As a result, the beautiful structures you got, these two structures are connected, same materials, but they connected like this. So that's how is the two cubes, one is tilted, one is this normal standard cubes. But interesting that same material, but you see the lattice mismatch at the center because their orientations are different. So that's what the materials, you could see this beautiful TM images, how these are connected. So you could see here two cubes. This is for the kernel side. This is the standard cube with the orientation. All cases, sometimes also you see more than one cubes are also connected. These are the coupled cubes we saw. This is the first straightforward way to make a secondary materials or secondary growth. It cannot be a core cell type of structures. It has to be had because the CSBR can attach only in particular phases. That's what these are for. So now what happens, these new structures, we put it out and we mixed with anything, mixed with any platelets or the cubes which has been reported. So we put it out, we see the larger size, we show that inside this TM picture, the larger size, what you show here is the this type of coupled structures. When we injected, these structures are so hungry that it tries to eat everything it finds in the cesium lead halide nanostructure. So it tries to eating it out. As I saw something, does not matter these are good or bad, small or something like that. These crystals are so hungry. It tries to eat everything till till it finished the last piece of nanocrystal. The phenomenon, which is called an Ostwald lightning, but exactly it is not a phenomenon of Ostwald lightning. This is something else has been working here. Like, and you could see here the big fish, which is trying to eat with the small fish game. What we have, what we have, we know from the childhood, and it can go from 30 nanometer to more than 1 micron and going. And you see the beautiful structures. These are truly a flux chemistry magic in the flux chemistry. Here I would like to show that as I was talking till all small particles finished, this is what the two cubes goes on increasing. This is close to 200 nanometers, but it can also be go further. And now the next structures I'll show what are these exactly. You could see the TM images. These image, the left side images are these images are the inverted TM images, and but these images you could see here are simply two cubes of the same materials. They are fused, and because of the eating of or consuming the all the smaller particles, these cube couples are formed. So with this, I would like to summarize the talk that crystal growth in the nano dimension can be possible on the surface. We create a template like of an organic, say, molecules to design. So it can change the optical properties can be tuned, catalytic properties can also be improved, and new materials can also be designed. So even then, this is the single type of facets I saw, multiple facets can also be generated. And at the end, I would like to show that this is the next reading of this as I was showing. This is the current available issue of the ICS energy letters and the perspectives where I have written that how the next generation crystals can be often using the simple school chemistry and the organic silicon designing and the reaction flux mechanism understanding. And thank you for your kind attention.